दोगे क्या? मैंने कुछ डाउट करने से हो गई ना कि डाउट तरह में हो सकता हूँ ना। पढ़ा भी नहीं होने तो मैं तो पढ़ा जब मैंने कहा तो पढ़ाना है। Metritis उसे और क्या इसे जानते हैं endometritis. What is the difference between endometritis and metritis? In this case or in that case? कौन सी? पूछना है ना? हाँ, कौन सी? How many layers are involved in the metritis and endometritis?
Metritis के किसमें 3 layers.
हाँ. बताओ ना आगे.
Endometrium.
वो सी इनको भी सुनना है ना, मुझे ही थोड़ी सुनना है. सुना किसी ने? जोर से बोलो ना, अभी तो नाश्ता का असर हो.
Endometrium, ectometrium,
endometrium,
myometrium,
myometrium,
ectometrium.
Then
ectometrium.
कौन सा मेट्रियम? ट्रांसलेट करो भाई, ट्रांसलेट करो, आगे जो बैठे ज्यादा सुन पाए हो. अभी तो आज बात बने. इन्होंने एक और क्या बताया? अभी तो आगे बात पड़े. बताओ इन्होंने क्या किया? रिपीट इट.
एंडोमेट्रियम, मायोमेट्रियम और एक्टोमेट्रियम.
एंडोमेट्रियम, मायोमेट्रियम और वही तो उतरे तो ये बताया ना. तभी तो पता चलेगा भाई कि डेफिनेशन क्या है मेट्राइटिस की. सिंपली इट इज द इन्फ्लेमेशन ऑफ द इंटायर यूटेरस. तो इंटायर यूटेरस का क्या मीनिंग है? इधर से बनाते वो ऊर्जा लगी पेरीमेट्रियम. और क्या कहेंगे? पेरीमेट्रियम एग्जैक्टली इसमें नहीं है. पेरीमेट्रियम इज आउटर न्यूज क्लियर टेक्नोलॉजिकली. आगे लगता है आगे सभी जो लास्ट में आए हैं और हैं आपके साथ हो गए. Today we are going to discuss metritis within 1 hour. Before we discuss metritis, we should also know the meaning. क्या बताओ इधर ये अभी उन्होंने कुछ बताया, मुझे कुछ सही सा नहीं लगा. बताओ सही करेंगे. How many layers are involved in the metritis? हालांकि उन्होंने सही बताया. हाँ आगे भी पढ़ना फास्ट, क्योंकि इतना टाइम नहीं है. बहुत सारी चीजें वही तो पूछ रहा हूँ. If I ask what is the difference between perimetrium and serosa, can you differentiate histologically? Any difference? Who will tell? पढ़ते नहीं है. दो क्लास में कोई नहीं अभी उसको पता नहीं चला, अच्छा उसको पता नहीं चला। अभी जैसे कोई बाहर से आता है अचानक कोई उसको कुछ पूछ ले तो उसकी तो फ्रीक्वेंसी कहीं और हाँ चलो बैठ जाओ। So I presume that you know about the detailed pathogenesis about the endometrium, and I presume it then it will be easy for me to explain metritis, because in most of the cases you will say that this is the case of metritis, and when you have diagnosed the condition in the laboratory after so many tests, then only you can say that it is endometritis or other pathology of the uterus. Otherwise, simply you will say that it is the case of metritis. That means inflammation of the uterus. So here it involves right from the external most layer to the internal, or from internal side to outermost layer. That innermost is endometrium. Then muscle layer. Then what is next? Perimetrium, or you can say the perimetrium. Here technically it is not 100% is correct, but it is entire serosa. But that is also correct. It is not wrong. That means the thickness of the uterus is affected. That means inflamed. So that will be termed as metritis. So here,
यहाँ से कौन सा रास्ता
कोई नहीं इधर रखा लीजिए
आगे।
आप तो नहीं लगे नहीं तो पता चला कि आज 1 घंटे में मेट्राइटिस की डेफिनेशन ही कर फॉर योर काइंड इंफॉर्मेशन वी आर डिस्कसिंग नहीं वो समझ रहे कि पता नहीं क्या चीज बता रहे। सो ओनली वी आर ट्राइंग टू कन्वे व्हाट इज मेट्राइटिस। सो इट इज द inflammation of the entire thickness of the uterus, that is right from serosa up to the endometrium. All the layers are involved in this pathology. But here it is very in another word you can say it is very very important condition, because in every case related to this uterine pathology, simply you will say that it is case of metritis. After that you will find out specifically that what is the case, endometritis or means the infection has reached up to the myometrium or outermost layer, that is serosa. So which level it has reached. So that you will say on the basis of laboratory examination only. But simply you will say that it is case of metritis. So it is very simple condition and it is very difficult also. Why? Because you will consider it is a very simple condition, but it is very difficult to treat. Why difficult to treat? Because you don't know the pathogenesis. What are the different steps which are involved in the metritis? And in more than 90% cases, we advocate wrong therapy in the uterine infection. 90%. Because we don't know. You may recommend any medicine. But here it is, the treatment is very specific, because that's why many of the Vegetarians that say in the treatment of the uterine pathology, they will say this and that only to save the skin. But virtually we don't know what is the exact pathology, what is the chronology, what is the bacteriology of the human or the uterus. That is very important to understand. That's why I came to take this lecture in a means as a filling the gap. But here you just see what is the after definition. You try to recall the because this is mostly related to the postpartum period. You know that it is mostly related. The story starts after the parturition. Very rare means it is always linked with the parturition. Rarely it is not linked with the parturition. So you should understand what is the meaning of postpartum period. Because there is no much time, that's why I am not going to ask individually. The postpartum period means simply right from the day of or the time of parturition till the evolution of the uterus is complete. In case of the cattle and buffalo, that ranges between 45 to 55. Technically, it is up to 55 days. In some books, you may find 60 days. But critically, if you analyze further, you add up many research papers, then you will find that 45 to 50 days. Right from the parturition to 45 to 50 days. Because 45 days are essential for the complete evolution of the uterus. So that constitutes the postpartum period. So this postpartum period management is extremely important. Why it is extremely important? Because it is going to have the impact on the fertility. What will be the fertility of particular individual? This period is going to decide. And here, you may recall your previous knowledge that how you can divide the period of the postpartum. मालूम है? And what is the postpartum period? So that is very essential for the treatment process. You already know that, I presume that you know, that is your paral period. उसी को रेफरेंस में. Then inter then post-ovulatory. Here, if you know the critically what is the period, and this can still right from the parturition to evolution. That is 45 to 50 days postpartum. Right from parturition. So here, why the metritis is important? In general, why it is important? Because it is going to have impact on the fertility level. So what type of impact it is going to have? It is considered that there are two types of the impact on the fertility. Yeah? Number one is short time or short period. Within a very short period, what type of impact it will have in the fertility? That means if the animal is suffering from the metritis, it will have some systemic infection. And if the animal is having some systemic infections, so it will have less water and feed intake. So ultimately it will result into body loss or the decreased body condition score. And ultimately it will have negative energy balance. So that is the chronology. If the animal is having this type of condition, it will have the systemic infection that will lead into ultimately reduced body condition score and ultimately negative energy balance, which will decide the postpartum period or the status of fertility. If it was under our conditions, Indian conditions, most of the animals after fertilization, they will experience negative energy balance. So that negative energy balance will have impact on the fertility status. Why? Because it is not going to resume the next cyclicity normally. That is the sequence we did. So here puerperal period, that means just after the postulation till the pituitary becomes sensitive to GnRH, and that period is about 7 to 14 days. And here the intermediate period, that means after that period, here again there will be increased sensitivity of the pituitary to GnRH and up to the ovulation. And ovulation normally, if everything is normal in the animal, then after the postulation, during the postpartum period, it will take 25 to 30 days for the first ovulation. So that will be the intermediate period. And post-ovulatory period, that means 25 to 30 days till the uterus becomes normal. That is complete uterine involution, that is 45 to 50 days or 60 days. So that is the period of the post-ovulatory means postpartum period. This means this period is very important. Why? Because you just see what is the bacteriology of the animal during this period, postpartum period. Most of means here you just see what are the major bacteria during this period, because that is very important. Here you know that this is the most common, E. coli, then Proteus, then bacteroids. और यहाँ पर Bacillus भी है, डिप्थीरिया, यूजोबैक्टीरियम, Clostridia, then और कौन सा है जो ट्रेन पैथोलॉजी के लिए एक्टिनोमाइसिस, और कोइनिबैक्टीरियम. Now, I presume that you know a little bit about the bacteria. What is the nature? Mostly this Clostridium group is gram positive, and this negative कौन सी है? वो तो आप जानिए, मुझे जो कन्वे करना है क्या? You know that you should understand what is the actual condition at the field level, that most of the population they occur in very unhygienic condition. Mostly under very unhygienic condition, and under unhygienic condition. What is that condition? If you analyze anywhere, so the animal is having a very specific area, only few meters, or 3 or 4 meters, 4 into 4 or 5 into 5 like that, not more in general under household conditions, and most of the time animal remains at one place. Rarely with some farmers they will have 2-3 places to just change the place of the animal. Otherwise, in most of the cases, 1 or 2 places are available. So most of the time it will remain in the same vicinity. Whether it is a milking animal or pregnant animal or whatever condition, or dry animal. So what happens? Suppose the animal is pregnant and if the delivery is due, and the condition is very shabby in nature. It is unhygienic, you can say. Litter is unhygienic, and it is not dry as happens usually. Usually you find that litter is soiled with urine or dung or other materials. So the animal is being kept there continuously. So all the pathogens may recycle continuously there. The cycle does not break. So at that means a particular situation or in that particular environment, you will find that this bacteria, this group, most pathogenic, though they are also available in the environment, but this Clostridia is very pathogenic in nature, and it is present in the soil. So if the conditions are dusty or the soil with the other urine, dung or other materials, so such type of pathogens, they will predominate and it will gain entry inside the uterus just after parturition. So from the soil or from the litter, it has reached to the genital system. So what it will do? In general, if you consider a very optimum condition, then what will happen? During this period, puerperal period, or in between intermediate period, mixed type of population of the bacteria predominates. Mixed type. That means gram positive, gram negative, and less pathogenic as well as more pathogenic. This is the means under normal condition, all these E. coli, Proteus, and these bacillus or bacteria, these type of organisms, they may be present. But under an abnormal situation, this Clostridia may also gain entry from the soil material to the genitalia. So what will happen? During this period, you can say the mixed type of population is present. As soon as the condition progresses towards the involution, means towards the recovery, what will happen? That mixed type of population will be wiped out, or it will be removed from the uterine lumen. Mixed type of population will be removed gradually as the animal is progressing towards the involution period. And what happens if the animal is normal, healthy, and environment is optimum? Then what will happen? Normally, mixed population will change into a specific type of bacteria. And what is that specific type of bacteria after that? That penicillin sensitive bacteria population will predominate after this period. But suppose the delivery is abnormal or environment is abnormal, then what will happen? Then for the uterine lumen, this Actinomyces pyogenes, that is Corynebacterium pyogenes, Fusobacterium, and bacteroids. These three groups, they will be seeded inside the endometrium. They are not being evacuated from the system. That means these three groups, Corynebacterium, Fusobacterium, and bacteroids, they will predominate or they will stabilize or seated inside the endometrium, and they will start multiplication. they will start the multiplication. But suppose the delivery is highly abnormal. Suppose it has resulted into dystocia. Then what will happen? Either you will try to move the fetus forcefully, or you will opt for the another manipulative process, or ultimately you go to cesarean section. So what will happen? When you have created sufficient trauma inside the uterus, then this less important bacteria, Clostridium, because usually it is not causing any problem inside the uterus, but when there is a rupture or you have created wound by these methods, manipulation, operation, or excess force applications, or whatever the manipulating process you have adopted, then it will stabilize along with these actinomyces, bacteroids and fusobacterium. This will predominate because you know that these bacteroids, Clostridium, this bacteria, they also work synergistically. They will boost each other. So what will happen? The population increases at a steady rate. Clostridium, it will predominate. And you know that during this period, the main complication or main conditions which are considered abnormal, that is puerperal metritis and retention of fetal membrane. During this puerperal period, retention of fetal membrane, two pathogenic conditions are puerperal metritis. During this period, intermediate period, metritis and endometritis are the most common pathologic conditions which will predominate. And after that, post-ovulatory period, here another conditions, chronic endometritis or chronic metritis and pyometra are the pathogenic conditions which comes under the post-ovulatory period. So what will happen? Here suppose the Clostridium has gained the entry along with these three other groups of the bacteria. So again I am saying that they will work synergistically. So what will happen? Immediately the level of the toxin will increase tremendously. Due to synergistic action of these groups of bacteria, the Clostridium will predominate and it will start secreting the more and more amount of the toxins. So these toxins will be immediately absorbed in the system and they will cause septicemia, toxemia, and here you will find that animal is having fever, and it will stop the taking feed and fodder immediately. It will leave everything and the condition will deteriorate. Why? Because the toxins are being absorbed in the system and it may result into septic, that is known as septic metritis or toxic metritis or gangrenous metritis. Now, because it has been complicated by such type of condition, so it has resulted into now septic. Now it will be, it is not only metritis, it is now septic metritis or toxic metritis or the gangrenous metritis. So at that point of time, you will say that it is now the case of septic metritis. So here you should know very critically that what type of pathogen is predominating. And after that, Now suppose this animal is having this type of complication. This type of complication, that means chronic metritis, means septic metritis or this gangrenous metritis, then it will have different types of symptoms. You already understand that if the animal is having this septic metritis, what type of complication it will have. That means external symptoms. This animal will have high rise of temperature, increased pulse rate, tachycardia, and other immediately it will stop the taking feed water, immediately it will stop, and the condition will deteriorate because body weight will reduce continuously. And if you are not treated the animal logically, then it is not going to recover because it is a very acute type of condition. If you don't know what type of pathogen is causing this type of problem, then you will get different type of therapy. Now what will happen in this condition? Suppose it has such type of condition. So what will be the net impact on this? That means what is your requirement at this time? That animal should involute normally so that it can start the cyclicity immediately. Immediately means 25 to 30 days postpartum. First ovulation, then fertile ovulation later on in the next cyclicity. That is your single objective. But now you know that such type of condition is prevailing. So what will happen? What will happen? That how it will involute? What type of problem it will create, that you should understand. Number one, what type of pathogenesis it will cause. Suppose this animal is having this type of condition. Number one means what will happen on the involution process. क्या होगा? Normally, what would be the weight of the uterus just after delivery? अभी तो involution का पता चलेगा. What I am trying to convey that you should understand whether suppose the animal is before you and the farmer is complaining that this is the condition. So how you will judge? Suppose you have started examining the animal. So how you come to know that it is not involuting normally? Technically, हवाबाजी नहीं, मतलब कुछ भी कह दो ऐसे ही, but that should be rational. What would be the approximate weight? कौन बताएगा? जल्दी से बताओ. नहीं तो मैं पढ़ाते ही रहूँगा अभी तो नहीं पढ़ाता. हाँ? नॉटी निकालो? हैं? नहीं तो चलो इधर ही से बताओ. आज मैं तो लास्ट लाइन राइट मोस्ट. हाँ बोलो. मस्ट. ये कोई ऐसा क्वेश्चन नहीं है कि वो बड़ा फॉर्मूले ट्राई करना होगा. नॉर्मली कितना, व्हाट इज द नॉर्मल वेट ऑफ द यूटरस? नहीं, नॉर्मल वेट. अभी जैसे फिर में नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन होगा 150 kg और आफ्टर पार्चुरेशन और एट द टाइम ऑफ पार्चुरेशन. एकदम गलत है. बैठो. तो सिस्टम ही अच्छा लगता है. टाइम नहीं है बेचारा. जो खुल जाए उसका चांदनी बगूड़ा. चांदनी इधर भी हो. और अपनी कम. हाँ, नॉर्मली इन केस ऑफ कैटल में बफलो ठीक है, इट इज अबाउट 700 नॉर्मली. ठीक है. But what would be the status at the time of parturition or after parturition? कब? आफ्टर पार्चुलेशन. सुरेंद्र राठौर. बोलो इनको भी नहीं आता कौन सा है? 2 किलो आफ्टर पार्चुलेशन. अपने पड़ोसी से पूछो कितना होता है. फास्ट. हिमांशु शर्मा नहीं है, एब्सेंट है. रूमा. Anybody else? बताइए दो बारिश करी. मैं इसलिए ये सब चीजें पूछ रहा था कि यू शुड हैव लिटिल आइडिया, अदरवाइज इट इज वेरी डिफिकल्ट टू वर्क अंडर फील्ड कंडीशन ओनली गेसिंग है. और कोई सीधा साधा फार्मर आ जाएगा उसको गुमराह करते रहो है, और अपनी टाई सीधा करने के लिए कि हम बड़े क्वालिफाइड डॉक्टर हैं, अपनी स्कीम बचाने के लिए उसको दोषी बेचारे को ठहरा सकते हैं. और वो जानता होगा कितना है ज्यादातर चीजें. देखिए एट द टाइम ऑफ आफ्टर पार्चुलेशन, एट द टाइम ऑफ पार्चुलेशन कुछ ज्यादा ही हो जाएगा. कितना हो जाएगा तो मैं बताता हूँ. मैं अपनी बाकी बताने जा रहा हूँ ना, जल्दी से है. बच्चा कितना हो? 1 किलो पैसा ये तो ज्यादा कंट्राडिक्टरी टाइप का नहीं होगा. अब जैसे कहते हैं एट द टाइम पार्चुलेशन है, इसका मतलब कि स्टिल द फीटस इज इनसाइड. उतनी टाइम में तो कितने केजी का होगा? 25 किलो का तो बच्चा हो गया. 35 किलो 35 लीटर उसमें फ्लूइड होता है. कितना होगा? हाँ 75 केजी के आसपास, और उससे ज्यादा ही होगा. ये तो मैंने एवरेज बताया है. जस्ट आफ्टर पार्चुलेशन इट विल बी अराउंड 10 केजी. And it is almost impossible to palpate the entire uterus rectally. That you should know. And here what will happen? If the animal is having such type of complication which we are discussing, it will not progress towards the normal involution. So what will happen? Under normal condition, what will happen? It will take 10 to 15 days to reach to the normal condition. That means it will be about 1 kg or less than 1 kg, 700, 800, 900 grams by 15th day postpartum, if the involution is progressing normally. But here we have discussed that such type of condition is present. So what will happen? After 10 or 15 days, suppose you are going to examine the animal, it is not able, means you are failing to touch the entire part of the uterus. That means involution is restricted. It is not progressing normally. So how many days it will take? If the condition is normal, then within 15 to 20 days you can palpate the entire uterus. Within 15 to 20 days, it will reach completely to the normal size. That does not mean that it has involuted completely. That is the physical involution. Physical. That means, you know that after means when this involution is progressing, if you examine very critically the entire uterus, then you will find that the cervix and also uterus, both they have about 70 mm diameter. After day 15, it will be about 70 mm in diameter, and the uterus or uterine horn will progress faster than the cervix. Cervix is the last structure to be involuted. And ultimately, when it is completely involuted, it will reach to 30 to 40 mm diameter. That means it is completely involuted. And here, suppose the animal is having such type of condition, this is the physical involution, and another is the fluid. What is the approximate amount of the fluid which will be expelled out after the parturition? And what is the normal period when it will recover? That means there is no palpable fluid inside the uterus. कब नहीं होना चाहिए? Normally it will take 15 days, total 15 days. In some of the cases it may reach to up to 18 days. 15 to 18 days in some of the cases, but majority it will take 15 days to expel all the fluid which is present. And just after parturition for 2 days, the fluid is termed as serosanguinous fluid. Up to 2 days after parturition, it is termed as serosanguinous fluid, which is excreted continuously, and it will become thick and opaque, or in some of the cases may be white. So it should not be confused with the pus. Why? There is a specific reason for it. Why second day onward it will be thick and it is opaque and white in color? Because the dissolution of the caruncles, it will start second day onward, and gradually it is being mixed with the uterine fluid, and it will look like as a pus from outside. So you should not confuse that it is a pus. The animal is having some problem. Then it is the dissolution of the caruncles continuously, and that is being mixed. So by the 15th day postpartum it will be over, and under such condition when animal is having this metritis, so it will not be complete, or the palpable fluid will be present 18 days onward. That means if you are palpating the uterus very gently, you will find presence of fluid 18 days onward. Then you can say that this animal is having this type of complication. Otherwise, the fluid is not palpable, preferably within 15 days postpartum, if everything is normal. And what is suppose this condition is substantiated or it is supported further or complicated further because of the presence of the hormonal profile after parturition. What is the normal hormonal profile after parturition in relation to this condition? That means even if the less pathogenic bacteria they are present and they gain entry, if the endocrine profile is like this, which I am going to narrate, if the condition prevails like this, then even a less pathogenic bacteria, it will be problematic. it will cause severe endometritis or metritis or even the pyometra. What is that? That means less level of the progesterone hormone, less level of the progesterone, that is progesterone level, that is less than 3 nanogram per ml. 3 nanogram per ml plus lesser level of estrogen. Lesser level of the estrogen, that is about 100 picogram per ml. If such type of combination is present in that particular animal, then it is going to cause further complication. Another condition, this is the first condition which is detrimental. Another condition which is equally important, if alone progesterone is more than 7.5 to 8 nanogram per ml alone, it will cause very severe condition. That means it will support even the less pathogenic bacteria which are already present in the lumen. They will start complication. This type of means pathological condition they will create. Why? Because this will ensure the very calm and quiet environment inside the uterine lumen. So they will also proliferate in larger number or in huge number, and even the less toxins it will be accumulated and it will cause problem to the animal. That is second condition. Third condition is lower level of PGF2 alpha in the circulation, because you know that PGF2 alpha prostaglandin, it will increase in the circulation after the parturition. And it is responsive for the normal involution of the uterus. If it is lower in the concentration, कितना होता है वैसे? पता नहीं है? Normally it is about 500 to 600 picogram per ml. If it is around 200 to 300 picogram per ml, that means it is indication that the animal is going to have either retained placenta or this pyometra or endometritis in the future. So if this is the condition, then what will be another complication if such type of complication means condition is present? This type of condition, it will also hamper the phagocytic activity of the uterus. That means uterine defense mechanism is also affected adversely under such conditions. When the animal is having pathogenic bacteria, which I have already discussed, and this type of the hormonal profile, then ultimately you are not going to do anything with the animal. This is the uterine defense mechanism which will take care after the parturition that which type of the bacteriology will predominate inside the lumen. So what will happen under such conditions? क्या होगा? मैं क्या बता रहा था? हाँ, कैसे होगा? How the defense mechanism will be adversely affected. Normally what happens under means extremely normal condition, suppose there is parturition today, so it will take 2 days. It will take 2 days to initiate the uterine defense mechanism, and that will result into our progress towards the uterine involution. 2 days to initiate the phagocytic activity. That means influx of leukocytes or infiltration of the leukocyte is ignited on 2nd day after normal parturition. Why? Because after 1 or 2 days, even if everything is in sterile condition, all the pathogenic bacteria, or you can say opportunistic bacteria or incidental bacteria, they will gain entry from the environment and they will stabilize themselves there and they will cause problem. That means this type of condition. That means they will ignite the phagocytic activity. That means it will give the signal. When they gain the entry inside the lumen, they will initiate the phagocytic activity. That means leukocytes, they will be drained from the circulation into the uterine lumen. They will start phagocytizing the pathogenic or non-pathogenic bacteria, whatever population is present inside the lumen. But what will happen if the animal is having metritis, chronic metritis or biometra or this type of hormonal profile? Then what will happen? It will take minimum 15 to 20 days to ignite or give the signal to the system that phagocytic activity is required inside the lumen. Because such type of profile and septicemic condition, it will drastically hamper the initiation of the phagocytic activity. Hence, what will happen? The involution period of the uterus is extremely prolonged. That means these type of pathogenic bacteria, they will have better environment to flourish, and it will increase in the number, and the sufficient quantity of the toxin will be continuously produced. So here uterine defense mechanism is completely hampered. So it will delay the involution period. What is next? What is the role of this nutrition in this context? That in relation to metritis. That means here directly I will say that well-fed animal or even you can say fatty animal, obese animal is having better chances to develop metritis, endometritis or gangrenous metritis. Overfed animal. Why? क्यों ऐसा होगा ओवरफेड में? ओवरफेड में ऐसा क्या हो जाएगा? हाँ? फैटी आदमी या जीव में क्या होगा? It has been seen in case of fatty animal that the ratio of the estrogen to progesterone, it is inclined towards the progesterone. Another thing is ratio of the calcium to phosphorus. It is inclined towards the phosphorus, not towards the calcium. So it has been studied that if the nutritional inclination is towards the calcium or towards the progesterone, then it is going to have favorable environment for the bacteria inside the or pathogens inside the lumen. That is the first condition in case of obese animal. And second condition is if the animal is having chronic deficiency of vitamin A or selenium and selenium or and both selenium, then it will have very good environment inside the lumen, because these three conditions, कौन सी, चाहे ओबेज हो, चाहे कैल्शियम हो, चाहे एस्ट्रोजन की तरफ प्रोजेस्टेरोन की तरफ इंक्लिनेशन हो, और दिस vitamin A or other conditions, they will favor the pathogenic bacteria to multiply at a faster rate. So it will support the development of the metritis into the chronic metritis, like that. Another condition is here. Suppose you have taken एक बंदे वाला है. Suppose you have क्लास भी है तो जैसे है ना, तो ऐसा है ना, ये it will require another 10-15 minutes for the treatment because that is very important. हरीडली नहीं बताना चाहता, जब भी आपको टाइम मिले, लेकिन आफ्टर 1 week मैं आज शाम को कहीं बाहर जाना है. तो इसमें ये है ना कि हाउ रैशनली यू ट्रीट इंट्रायूटेराइन, क्योंकि ये किसी को पता नहीं है. किसी से पूछोगे वो 99% वो गलत ही बताता है, बिकॉज ही डज नॉट नो व्हाट इज द क्रोनोलॉजी ऑफ पैथोजेंस प्रिवेलिंग एंड हाउ द ट्रीटमेंट शुड बी सेलेक्टेड. कभी कोई कह देगा कि पेंसिलिन, कभी कोई कहेगा ऑक्सीट्रोसाइक्लिन, कोई कहेगा जिंटामाइसिन है, जिंटामाइसिन, केनामाइसिन. तो 10-15 मिनट्स आप अभी मुझे बताइएगा टाइम, तो मैं उसमें आपको ये बता दूंगा कि हाउ यू सेलेक्ट नहीं तो सब मनमानी जो भी एंटीबायोटिक मिल गई इंट्रायूट्राइन और इंट्रामस्कुलर, ठीक है ना.